kwa sababu hivi ninavyozungumza Wakenya wana huzuni mkubwa sana. Extra comments, and with your permission, members of the fourth estate, and because of the intensity of this statement, we would recommend that we do not have even supplementary questions, because I think you all need to chew this. We all need to chew. Your audience, which is the Kenyan people, we need also to chew exactly what we are going to issue today from the command center. Karibu sana, ndugu Rigiji.
Thank you very much. This is a press statement by the United Alternative Government on the fuel scandal in our country, Kenya. Patriotic Kenyans, today we wish to draw the attention of Kenyans to one of the greatest fuel scandals in the history of independent Kenya. We have deliberately taken time to look into the oil scandal that has hit Kenya in the hope that the government of President William Ruto would be kind to the people of Kenya and save them from further agony. Little was it forgotten to us that Kenyans are on the and the entire energy value chain is completely a criminal enterprise under William Ruto. We wish to state as follows. On Thursday, the 2nd of April 2026, Kenyans were treated to dramatic arrests of former PS State Department of Petroleum, Mr. Mohamed Liban, Mr. Daniel Kipto, former DG EPRA, and Mr. Joe Sang, former MD, Kenya Pipeline Corporation. On 4th April 2026, a public statement made by William Ruto meant to hoodwink and fool the people of Kenya. He argued that oil cartels had been crushed to a halt. Further, he strongly stated as follows: that the international oil companies, IOCs, had not declared their inability to perform their obligations under contract. Yet we know that there was official communication requesting a contract review and price adjustment following the Middle East crisis. The other trio had resigned, yet they were forced to resign during the Easter weekend while still under police custody. That the three accused persons would be charged in a court of law for various offenses. The three international oil companies, IOCs, in the so-called G2G arrangements are Saudi Aramco, they supply diesel and super petrol; Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, ADNOC, they supply diesel and jet fuel; and Emirates National Oil Company, ENOC, they supply super petrol. These IOCs supply and distribute fuel through 6 hand-picked local oil marketing companies. But what was being hidden from the public was the real culprits of this scandal. The team leader of this oil scandal is William Ruto, Felix Koskei, and the abroad-based expert, the CS for Energy and Petroleum, Mr. Opio Wandai. And a local company, which is a nominee of the international oil companies, IOCs, awarded under the so-called G2G framework. While the crisis in the Middle East brought about the conflict of the USA and Iran, William Ruto saw a big business opportunity to fleece Kenyans, as he has always done. Kenyans will recall the Brazil maize scandal of 2009 when William Ruto was the Minister for Agriculture, and he was fired by the then Prime Minister, the late Right Honorable Raila Odinga. Truly, you can't change the character of a man. In the so-called G2G arrangement, Gulf Energy, William Ruto's proxy, via a letter dated 21st March 2026, addressed with then PS State Department of Petroleum, Mr. Liban Mohammed, confirmed their inability to supply fuel and triggered a delivery default. Note that Gulf Energy supplies 4 out of 6 or 67% of the monthly fuel cargoes, leaving the other 5 oil marketing companies to supply the balance of 20% or 2 cargoes imported under the so-called G2G framework. Since the IOCs in the so-called G2G framework agreement could not evacuate fuel through Strait of Hormuz and had communicated their inability to perform their contractual obligations, triggering a delivery default, the 3 government officers invoked relevant provisions of the Petroleum Importation Regulations 2023 and implemented a government directive issued by the National Security Council Committee via a letter dated 9th March 2026, reference number OP CAB 3/55A, to explore and implement strategies to diversify petroleum import sources beyond single region, reducing dependency and enhancing national energy security. As such, the above decision was implemented. On 18th March 2026, the State Department of Petroleum, a meeting of the Vessel Alignment Committee, which was chaired by one Joseph Wafula, was held to review the supply position and replenishment plan. The meeting was attended by 13 local oil marketing companies. During this meeting, it was recognized that there is a likely shortage or supply of petroleum products, and in accordance with Clause 21, Petroleum Import Regulations 2023, the 13 oil marketing companies were invited to submit an expression of interest for the emergency supply of contingency fuel stocks for delivery on or before 28th to 30th March 2026. It is important to note that only 4 of the 13 oil marketing companies submitted their bids within the stipulated timeframe. The awards for the supply of emergency contingency stocks was duly awarded to the 2 lowest technically compliant oil marketing board bidders, with the condition that the supply required a quality waiver from Kenya National Bureau of Standards, KEBS. Note, this was also in line with Clause 8.1 Petroleum Import Regulations 2023, an international best practice as seen in other countries who had relaxed fuel specifications following the effects of the Middle East crisis. Subsequently, via the letter dated 28th March 2026, reference MITI/CS/Volume 1/Waiver Number 3, signed by Honorable Lee Kenyanjui, CS Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry, addressed to the Honorable P.O. Wandai, granted waiver for oxygenates, manganese, sulfur, and benzene parameters in the KSES 158/2025. The following companies were awarded, who are the 2 lowest bidders: 1 Petroleum and Oryx. These were contingency cargoes with delivery dates on or before 30th March 2026. Their supply position was to provide fuel cover for 2 weeks, thus ensuring product availability during the Easter holidays. But where is the mischief of the oil cartels? William Ruto was well appraised of all these processes and procedures. All the directives were issued by the National Security Council Committee, chaired by Head of Public Service Felix Koskei, Ruto's errand boy. After William Ruto got a brief that Gulf Energy's bid was knocked out on technical grounds and the competitors had gotten their letters of award, he issued clear instructions that Gulf Energy bids be affixed to the procurement process and awarded with immediate effect. Gulf Energy submitted their bids 3 days later, on 23rd March 2026, after the awards had been executed. Their delivery was for the 8th to 15th April 2026, which was 10 days past the preferred date range of 28th March to 2nd April 2026. The bid of Gulf Energy was rejected by the Vessel Alignment Committee, State Department of Petroleum. This being William Ruto's proxy company that supplies 80% of monthly cargoes, he exercised political power, characteristic of him, This is when the head started rolling. He knew that he had lost profit worth billions of shillings. Through a remarkable architecture, conman attitude, William Ruto orchestrated a terrible propaganda that the fuel supplied was substandard despite the comprehensive compliance due process followed by the gallant then government officers. To date, the three arrested Kenyans, PS Liban, DG EPRA and MD Kenya Pipeline Company, have had no charges preferred on them. Why? They had no case to answer as they followed and applied the law strictly. The real culprits in this scandal are William Ruto and his broad-based expert, the Honorable Opiyo Wandayi. Concurrently and maliciously, on the night of 5th and 6th April 2026, as this drama was being executed, William Ruto dispatched a high-power delegation led by CS Wandayi, Acting CEO EPRA Engineer Joseph Okech, and other senior government officials together with Gulf Energy to renegotiate new pricing with the international oil companies whose nominated agent is Gulf Energy, a proxy of William Ruto. These prices were negotiated in Dubai, and if you recall, that is why Opiyo Wandayi was not available when he was summoned by Parliament, as he was negotiating these prices in Dubai to take into consideration the profit of William Ruto in the new price structure. Kenyans now have to pay for the greed and business of William Ruto, not only on the pump, but across all sectors of the economy. Yesterday night, they increased prices of super petroleum by Kenya shillings 28.69 and diesel by Kenya shillings 40.3 per litre, a historic high since Kenya's independence. You recall 2 weeks ago I announced the price increase of 40 because I had information from the team that was negotiating in Dubai on behalf of William Ruto and his people. Following the April 14, 2026 price adjustment, Mr. William Ruto will earn a profit of Kenya shillings 5 per every litre consumed by the people of Kenya, or the equivalent of 2.5 billion Kenya shillings, from the 500 million litres to be supplied for the region's consumption. Since the inception of the so-called G2G agreement, Mr. William Ruto has earned a cool 30 billion shillings in profit from the supply of petroleum products to the region. During the COVID pandemic period and the onset of the Ukraine-Russian war, the then government of the day took measures to cushion the welfare of its citizens, whereas today the William Ruto regime has taken advantage of the Middle East crisis to load their profit on the local pump price to the detriment of Kenyan citizens. We have one question to ask William Ruto. The emergency contingency stocks were procured in accordance with the Petroleum Act 2019. They were done in accordance with the Petroleum Import Regulations 2023, the Open Tender Agreement Terms and Conditions 2023, and the Kenya Bureau of Standards waiver, and the Kenya National Security Council Committee resolutions issued on 9th March 2026. What crime have these three officers committed? Therefore, then, we demand as follows. Mr. William Ruto, leave being on top of the vehicles, as you have always done to lecture the people of Kenya. You must now make hard decisions for the future. Mr. William, this is the time Kenyans are demanding that you immediately stop living your dream and utopia and face reality and put Wanjiku first. Mr. William Ruto, you must immediately direct the Speaker of the National Assembly, your sycophant, to convene a special sitting of Parliament within 7 days to address the following urgent issues, failure to which the united government shall call for national mass action. 1, to cancel the so-called government-to-government petroleum framework, as it involves hard-picked oil marketing companies that represent the William Ruto interests. In any case, the commercial frameworks between William Ruto and private international companies. We want to explain that this is not government-to-government. This is government companies in the Middle East. In normal circumstances, if it was government-to-government, these Middle East companies would be working either with NOC or with the Kenya Pipeline Company, not private companies owned by William Ruto. So there is nothing like government to government deal. It is government to William Ruto, proxies and companies. We unequivocally demand for the immediate resignation for Energy and Petroleum, Mr. Opiyo Wandayi, for the fuel scandal and lying under the oath to the National Assembly Committee. We also demand the resignation of Lee Kinyanjui for being complicit and being part of this scandal. We want to ask to suspend the implementation of the National Infrastructure Fund and use the proceeds collected from the sale of equity in Safaricom PLC and Kenya Pipeline Corporation to cushion wananchi from the adverse socio-economic effects of the April 2026 historic fuel price adjustment. On taxation relief to Kenyans, we demand the suspension of the road maintenance levy that was increased from 18 shillings to 25 shillings per every litre of fuel. We also demand the suspension of the affordable housing levy. We also demand the suspension of unwarranted NSSF deductions that are punitive and are used to finance President William Ruto's single-sourced infrastructure projects. We also demand that Parliament remove VAT on fuel products. We are saying on behalf of the people of Kenya that that is a reducible minimum. And if there is no action taken on the part of William Ruto, we shall announce further measures to the people of Kenya to force William Ruto and the National Assembly to act in the best interest of the people of Kenya. Thank you.
Well, there we go. Tomorrow, I will be in the High Court at Milimani dealing with this other state capture matter of the sale of Safaricom shares to Vodacom, itself a foreign company. So although in our statement we have highlighted that whatever the proceeds out of that sale, I want to announce that that is contested and will be in court tomorrow. So we will now invite our brother JB Muturi to give some highlight, make some further comments, and after that we'll have brother Fred Matiang'i, and finally Eugene Wamalwa will make the final comments. JB.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to state to William Ruto to ask his proxy, Moses Wetangula, to convene a special sitting. We are cognizant of the fact that the House is still sitting, but we are saying that this is the right time, if indeed William Ruto has any interest at all about the welfare of the people of Kenya, because we know the revenue and expenditure estimates, what we call the budget estimates, will be tabled before the House of Parliament not later than 30th of this month. And therefore, our call for a special sitting and for the removal of VAT and the suspension and or total exclusion of the extra 7 shillings charged on the fuel levy should be at this time and be considered during this special sitting because the ramifications of this historic and abnormal increase in the cost of fuel effected last night are enormous, and the implications will spread to all sectors of our national economy and affect the socio-economic fabric of this country. In conclusion, I just want to amplify the point raised in our statement that indeed, as Kenyans would recall, when William Ruto took over the reins of government in 2022 is when immediately after he had made several promises that we needed to address the issue of the many taxes in the fuel sector. And many Kenyans will recall that he never shied to criticize the former administration. He said he offered that there will be a review of the many. In fact, in his own words, he put those levies at 15. He said they're going to be reviewed. And therefore, every Kenyan felt that when he came up with the idea of a G2G arrangement, he was indeed going to address that issue of the mini taxes. The matter did come to me as Attorney General of the Republic, brought to me by the CS then, Davis Churchill, the chairman of the Presidency Council of Economic Advisors, David D., and one of the other advisors, Mr. Hassan Mohammed. But I just raised one question. Yes, Saudi Aramco is owned by the Saudi government. It is therefore a government company. ADNOC is owned by the Abu Dhabi government. ENOC is owned by the Emirates. So indeed, it's just an acronym. So I raise the issue. If it's going to be a government to government, what is the government on the Kenyan side? And of course, the excuses were used that, there was a pressure on the Kenyan shilling because the oil marketing companies were demanding not less than 500 million shillings every month to import fuel into the country. And that now the arrangement was that Kenya was going to be given a 6 months window before paying for the fuel that will have been delivered. But surprisingly, the government of Kenya chose not to use the government-owned National Oil Corporation, NOC, or the Kenya Pipeline Company, KPC, to represent government on the Kenyan side so that the equation makes sense when you talk about G2G. Instead, the government of Kenya purported to advise the oil importing companies, the IOCs, the three from the Middle East, to nominate locally companies that government purported to have interest in. And those companies, the three that was nominated, are the ones led by Gulf Energy, in which William Ruto controls more than 3/4 of its shares. Indeed, as Kenyans would know, this Gulf Energy is the company that bought out the British consortium that was dealing with the Turkana oil. And therefore, it is no wonder that we have never seen a reduction in the fuel prices, because William Ruto is right in the middle. On the Kenyan side, he is the G. That's why we are calling on William Ruto to now cease this arrangement. And that's why we are saying Parliament should actually be the one in the forefront to call for scrapping of this so-called G2G arrangement, so as to address the plight of the common person who is going to get the effects of this astronomical and abnormal increase in fuel prices. Thank you.
Thank you.
In addition to what my colleagues have said, when we were reflecting on this issue this morning, the 3 points that need to be made in addition to what we have said in the statement, the lengthy and detailed statement we have put out, is that one, a lot of information on this matter has come to us, the leaders of the opposition. This is because there are so many Kenyans out there in the public and private sector who are not just alarmed but generally deeply frustrated by the way this administration is managing our country. I stop to ask the question all the time. In this era of information and liberal availability of information, it cannot be that the government and its leaders are doing this in the hope that the public will not know, which leads us to the conclusion that they are doing so blatantly, deliberately, and they actually don't care about the law, they don't care about the stability of the country, and they don't care about the progress of the country. Two, it's astounding the level of conflict of interest involved in this matter. When you read all the documents and all the information that has been brought to our attention, it's so abundantly clear that the president and head of state is not just an interested party in this matter, he is a practical key player in this whole matter. And our president is now faced with that conflict of interest where he needs to choose between being head of state and government and therefore the custodian of the welfare of the people of Kenya and the businessman and the practitioner that he is in the business environment. Because for the private sector in this country, the leader of our nation is a predatory competitor, and he can't hold that position of competitor and regulator at the same time, because obviously you can see the resultant effect of it. It's untold pain and suffering of our people. Lastly, I hate to say this, I always hope I'm wrong on some of these things, because just 4 years ago, before we left the government, we warned the country about a number of these things. I was the previous administration when we saw some of these things, and pointed out that these our friends do not have the capacity to be fair arbitrators and leaders of a great nation such as ours. In my view, and we've discussed this matter considerably, if this issue is not dealt with, this matter of oil, I think we haven't seen the worst yet in terms of the direction our economy is going to take and some of the things that are going to happen as a result of the conduct of government business. So when we say publicly that our country is going the wrong direction, we do so because we love our country, we are patriotic, we are responsible people, and we have a moral duty to point out to our fellow citizens when we think we are clearly entering a very dangerous zone in the affairs of our country. Our leaders need to make that painful decision. Are they going to be leaders, regulators, managers of the affairs of our country and therefore the custodians of our people's welfare? Or they are going to be private business people doing business? If you sat down with Kenya Private Sector Alliance, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, and all these private sector people working in our country and investing, working very hard in our country, some of them in low tones, some of them in extreme frustrations of the things that happen, give you evidence that our country is headed the wrong direction. And we are asking these questions not because we are negative about these things, but because we are also alarmed at all these things that are available. And we want to, lastly, on behalf of my colleagues, thank the Kenyans who have given us this information. You had my three colleagues who spoke before me, Honorable Gashawa, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, and Honorable Muturi. All this information that we have, a lot of it every day is coming to us from Kenyans who are very concerned. We thank them. We want them to know that we appreciate their forthrightness and their commitment, and we remain open. Please give us more information on this, because we have been taken through this oil business by government officers and public officers who are willing to share information, who are equally concerned and very, very frustrated by the way the affairs of our country are being run. We will work with them My last point is to assure them that in us they have very worthwhile partners. We are also hopeful about our country, and we are asking them not to lose hope even as they find themselves in those circumstances. Help is on the way. We are turning the corner soon. We will turn the leaf soon, and we will continue with the business of building a country because we believe our beloved country, Kenya, is better. We are better than this. Thank you.
Well done.
Asanteni sana. Nafikiri wenzangu wameongea Kiingereza mingi, watanjaribu lugha ya taifa, na niseme ya kwamba Wakenya wenzangu, jana shirika la April limetangaza kuongezeka kwa bei ya mafuta. Kienda kwenye station yoyote kufika sasa, mafuta ya petroli yako zaidi ya shilingi 200 na vile vile ya diesel, na hili ni jambo litaumiza wananchi sana, haswa wakulima wengi ambao walikuwa bado wako mashambani. Diesel imekuwa bei ya juu sana, na inamaanisha hata yule mkulima pale kwenye shamba, kuanzia leo mambo yatakuwa magumu. Hata wale walio katika uchukuzi, transport, diesel itapanda. Hata vijana wetu wa bodaboda, petroli itapanda, na hiyo inamaanisha nauli itapanda kutoka kwa yule mwana bodaboda, yule matatu, ile bus, na popote unapoenda. Sasa gharama ya maisha imeongezeka kuanzia jana, na mara ya mwisho tukifikisha zaidi ya shilingi 200 bei ya mafuta ilikuwa wakati wa maandamano ya kwanza, wakati tulikuwa na finance bill ya kwanza ya serikali ya Kenya kwanza, na hiyo ndio ili double mambo ya VAT, ushuru kwa mafuta, kutoka shilingi 8 kwa lita hadi shilingi 16, 16% ya VAT on fuel every liter. Hapo ndio ilifanya gharama ya maisha ikaongezeka sana, kukawa na maandamano, na baada ya maandamano tukaulizwa twende kwa mazungumzo kule kwenye Bomas. Tuliongoza na Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka kule kwenye Bomas, timu yetu ya Azimio, na kati ya yale tuliambia serikali hii ni kwamba Bwana Zakayo, shukisha ushuru. Ushuru wa kwanza shukisha kwa mafuta. Pale Uhuru Kenyatta aliwacha kwa serikali, na ilikuwa kwa hiyo serikali na Mheshimiwa Matiang'i hapa, ilikuwa pressure nyingi sana VAT ipite 8%, lakini Uhuru Kenyatta alizuia, akasema ikipita hapo wananchi wataumia. Na hiyo ndio ilifanya lita ya mafuta wakati Uhuru anaondoka, Wakenya wenzangu mtakumbuka, ilikuwa shilingi 159, 159 per liter. Lakini baada ya hiyo finance bill 2023 bei ikaongezeka, kawa na maandamano. Kwenye Bomas tulikuwa na Mheshimiwa Kalonzo, tukawa na Mheshimiwa Opiyo Wandayi na wenzetu wengine ambao tulifanya kazi nao. Leo nataka niukumbushe ndugu Wandayi ya kwamba tulitumwa Bomas ili tushukishe ushuru kwa mafuta. Kulikuwa na ushuru mara 16, different levies and taxes on fuel alone, na hiyo ndio iliongeza gharama ya maisha. Na wakati huo tukasema hiyo VAT ishukishwe from 16% irudishwe 8%. Wenzetu wa Kenya Kwanza walikataa, na wakati tunamaliza mazungumzo hayo bado waliongeza tena mambo ya fuel levy kutoka shilingi 18 hadi 25. Na hiyo ndio sababu leo tumeambia Bwana Zakayo, sababu bado wako juu mtini na ushuru bado unapanda, ya kwamba aanze kwa kushukisha ule ushuru aliongeza akichukua ushukani baada ya Uhuru Kenyatta. Aanze na hiyo shilingi 7 kwa kila lita. Hiyo ikishukishwa, Wakenya wataanza kuona nafuu kidogo katika mambo ya mafuta. Pili, ushuru wa VAT kwa mafuta, huo ukiondolewa, hii bei itarudi chini ya 200, na hiyo itasaidia kila mwananchi wa Kenya popote ulipo katika. Hiyo ndio jambo tumesema leo tukutane hapa na tuseme we must demand that this be done immediately, na bunge liwe na kikao rasmi kuzungumzia hili kama swala la dharura, sababu linaguza kila mwananchi wa taifa letu. Shida ambayo ilikuweko tena kule Bomas, kulikuwa na hii mpango wa G2G, wakati huo ndio ulikuwa unaanzishwa, na tuliambiwa dola imekuwa mbaya, sasa lazima tufanye negotiation na wenzetu Warabuni so that we stabilize. Na hata baada hiyo vita ya Ukraine na Russia, mambo kuwa kurudi normal na vile vile dola yetu kuweza kustabilize, G2G hiyo ilitakiwa iweko hadi mwaka jana. Alafu tukasikia imekuwa extended hadi December. Sasa tuambiwa hii G2G imekuwa extended hadi September mwaka ujao. Hiyo inamaanisha ya kwamba hii bei itabaki ama itaongezeka, lakini haitaenda chini, sababu ya hii deal ambayo Kenyans are locked in, mpende msipende. Leo tumeelezwa vizuri sana kwenye statement yetu, tumeeleza wa Kenya mwenye G2G wakati wa Bomas, na nilikuwa kati ya wale tuliangalia mambo hayo, na wakati walikataa kushukisha ushuru, nilikuwa kati ya wale nilikataa kuweka sahihi mkataba huo, sababu walikuwa na uwezo wa kushukisha ushuru wakati wa finance bill ya kwanza, lakini wakaongeza hata finance bill ya 2024 ikawa mbaya zaidi. Mzigo huo ulirudi kwa mwananchi, na ndio sababu vijana wetu wa Gen Z walijitokeza kupinga finance bill 2024. Kama tungefanya the right thing at Bomas in 2023, tutoe hiyo ushuru, tuachane na hii mpango wa G2G, vijana wetu wale walikufa 2023 75 hawangekufa. Vijana wa Gen Z waliokufa 63 2024 wakipinga ushuru huu hawangekufa. Leo tuwasema wakati umefika, Bwana Ruto, ufanye kile ambacho Wakenya wanakuomba sasa, utoe hiyo ushuru. Lakini zaidi hiyo G2G wakati wa Bomas, when we challenged it, tulisema haikuwa G2G wakati huo, and on record kule Bomas katika Hansard iliyowekwa, sababu kulikuwa na Hansard ya bunge, ya kwamba hii G2G ilikuwa government to gangsters. Upande wa Uarabuni ilikuwa ni serikali, mashirika yameambiwa na aliyekuwa Attorney General ya serikali, lakini upande wetu tukatoa mashirika ya serikali tukaweka kampuni zetu za kibinafsi. So it was government to gangsters, na ile faida ambayo hawa wametengeza, vile Mheshimiwa Gachagua amesema hapa, it's obscene, it's immoral, ya kwamba rais wa nchi anaweza tumia shida kupata faida na kujifaidi yeye mwenyewe na wenzake, wanabiashara wenzake, na ni mabilioni ya pesa ametengeneza. Yale yanaendelea Kenya ni kama yale Shakespeare alisema, merchants of Venice, ambayo wamechukua profiteers instead of patriots who are leading our country. Wachache wanajivunia kuwa Wakenya wakitengeza pesa nyingi sana kwa kila lita ya mafuta, na Wakenya wengi wakiwemo mama mboga na bodaboda waliokuwa at the bottom of the pyramid, ambao walitakiwa waletwe up, hao ndio wanafinywa sana na wanavumilia kuwa Wakenya. Hiyo G2G tunataka tuseme ya kwamba it must be scrapped, sababu imekuwa a source of a lot of money coming into the pockets. Pesa mfukoni hii kwenda kwa mwananchi, imeenda kwa Bwana Ruto na wenzake. Na leo tunataka tuseme ya kwamba wakati umefika tuanze kujiuliza, je, tunaweza endelea kuwa na rais ambaye ni mwanabiashara, ambaye atumia ofisi yake kujifaidi mwenyewe na marafiki zake? Wakati amemaliza mwaka wa kwanza, orodha ya kwanza ambayo ilitoka, and this was global ranking of the most corrupt presidents of the world, aliorodheshwa kuwa nambari 2 nyuma ya Assad wa Syria. Mwaka jana wakati orodha imetoka ya kuangalia marais tajiri sana, amekuwa katika the first 11 of the richest presidents in the world, akiwemo na maoligarch kama Putin wa Russia. William Ruto ako kwa hiyo orodha. Na hiyo haitushangazi, sababu kama wewe ni rais mfisadi sana, mwanabiashara hodari, uko kwa sekta zote. Ukienda kwa sekta ya banking, ako kule, hii banki inaitwa Sidian. Ukienda upande wa mambo ya hoteli, hospitality, mahoteli ya Weston, Hata kuna moja kule Masai Mara, the Car Ritz Hotel, Ritz Carlton, tumeelezwa katika mambo ya manufacturing, steel, na rafiki yake Devki, chuma zote za affordable housing, simiti yote ako kwa manufacturing. Tukienda kwa sekta ya kawi sasa, ndio tunaguza G2G hii. Sio tu hiyo Gulf kampuni ile mnasikia Starbucks, he has interest there. Tukienda kwa mambo ya hospitali, kuna hospitali inaitwa Real, na tuliona rafiki yake pale Nairobi West Hospital, he has interest there. Kwa mambo ya SHA, ni biashara vikubwa sana anafanya kule kwenye SHA, na katika sekta ya afya, katika sekta ya uchukuzi, starting na aviation, ndege zake sio tu helicopter ambazo anakodisha hata serikali, lakini hata ndege zake zenyewe zinakuwa hard na KQ. Ni mwanabiashara mkubwa sana hata angani, sio tu hapa chini ardhini katika Kenya. Ni jamaa wa majuu sana. Tukienda kwa elimu, anaanzisha university kule Eldoret, sisi sote tunajua. He's in direct competition na university ya Moi inaanguka, lakini yeye anaanzisha a world class university kule. Hata biashara ya matatu, he has not spared Kenyans. Ako kule, tunajua matatu zake. Hata ukiingia kwa mambo ya sukari, amechukua kampuni zote, Zoya, Sony, Muhoroni, Miwani, mashirika yote ya kiserikali, na ekari zaidi ya 1,100. Na marafiki zake wachache wa Hindi sasa wameshika sekta ya sukari mkononi mwao, na anaanzisha yake ya kibinafsi kule Kilgoris. Ukiuliza wa Masai wanatuonyesha hiyo factory inakuja ni ya Ruto, na kuna zingine ambazo anaendelea kufanya. Na tunajua ya kwamba hata kwenye mining tunamuona kule Murima Hills, tunamuona kule West Pokot kwa simiti, hata dhahabu kule Kakamega na kwingineko. Sasa tunauliza kama wa Kenya, jamani, itakuwa vipi tuwe na rais ambaye ni mwanabiashara? Kule Venice kulikuwa na mabepari wa Venice, merchants of Venice, but now we have merchants of Kenya, led by none other than William Ruto. In fact, for me, I will tell my colleagues, we should not just be asking the PS to resign over this scandal and small fish. We should not just be asking Opiyo Wandayi, we should be asking William Ruto himself. You are conflicted, Mr. President. You are a merchant, you are a profiteer, you are not a patriot. And this goes on even in the region beyond our country. Your gold in the DRC and diamonds, the blood gold with Sudan, with the RSF. How much is enough for you, Mr. President? Thank you.
Wow. Hey. Sasa umeasikia na waelewa kwa sababu gani nikasema jameni tutulize boli kwa maswali. Hata umesahau ndugu Eugene kwa upande wa media vile vile. Wenyewe you haven't been spared. Kwa hivyo mfanyabiashara huyu sugu huyu, uongozi afanani nao. Kwa hivyo swala hilo ni la Wakenya na sisi zote. So we want to say this is very painful, extremely painful. By his own admission, William Ruto has said he's a businessman. When he was saying sijui ng'ombe ya Eugene inakufa inakupe, akasema kuna ng'ombe safi sana kwa upande wa kilimo. Ni vizuri kuwa champion na hiyo, lakini uongozi wa nchi nao unahitaji patriotism. So we are at a crossroads, and we do the best we can together with the Kenyan population. We're not going to leave you alone. We will put your best interests ahead of us. Kwa hivyo, let's keep hope alive. Asanteni sana.
Thank you.
Thank you.